Time for another video where I discuss my autism. I don't really talk about it on this channel all that much because I just detest having it, but I am born the way I am. There's nothing much I could really do about that, and maybe that'll be the topic of a different video someday. Who knows, but anyway, I was rewatching a video recently from a channel I enjoy called Some Leftist in Finland. Some of you may remember him as Undertaker Freak 1127, an old school rant channel that he deleted on his own accord some years ago. It's a video where he discusses the hardships that autism brings about when it comes to his relationships with other people, intimate or otherwise, and there's one part of the video that especially resonates with me. He mentions that at a really young age he was able to learn how to read cursive letters, learn how to ride a bike, and learn how to swim. Because one of the byproducts of having autism is being able to learn at a faster pace than most of your peers at a young age. For me, this was most prevalent when it came to reading. I was able to read higher level books than the rest of my class during my elementary school years. I was able to read and spell words that the rest of my class couldn't read or spell. I was able to have a better grip on punctuation and grammar than the rest of my peers, but what he also says in the video is these feats as you get older become less impressive because your peers catch up to you or even exceed you in the areas that you previously excelled at. And when you reach your adult years, you begin to compare yourself now to how you were as a kid and think, wow, why can't I impress people like I used to be able to? And I find myself feeling this a lot, and it's got me thinking, people really put a microscope on autistic children, but when those children become adults, they can't give a fuck less about them. Everyone loves themselves a brainiac child story, and that intelligent child may have their quirks, but those quirks factor into why they're so adorable. And once that adorable little child reaches their teen and adult years, those quirks quickly become weird traits that are the source of other people's ridicule. Like me, for example. This is no secret at this point. I've discussed this so much on this channel over the years, but I have severe social anxiety, and this was also the case when I was a child. I was much more quiet, reserved than all of the other kids in my classes. I had a really hard time approaching other kids in my classes out of fear that I'd be bothering them or they'd cast harsh judgment upon me, and I was actually told this as a kid by several people. Oh, you're shy? Aw, that's so cute. You'll grow out of it eventually, don't worry. Well, here I am, age 22. I'm gonna be 23 in a few months, and I still don't really have a grip when it comes to interacting with other people. And when I was a teen, I was the kid who sat in the back of the class and stayed quiet. And you know what other students say about those who are quiet and sit in the back of the class? They must be plotting a school shooting. Yeah, I got some of that shit thrown at me a couple of times. The problem stems from the fact that a lot of people still see autism as a children's only disorder, something that children will eventually grow out of as they get older. And since a lot of people associate autism with just children, a lot of us are plopped into adult society with not much of a fucking clue of what to even do, because a lot of us have trouble interacting with other adults, can't really relate much with other adults. This, of course, is not to say that every adult with autism is completely incapable of adult discussions or adult interactions, and that I and every other autistic adult needs to be infantilized. That is just erroneous. But what I am saying is, I struggle. I struggle a lot, and I really wish I wasn't constantly told as a kid that once I reach a certain age, this will all go away. I will be interacting with people with no issue whatsoever. So this made me abstain for the longest time from seeking out resources because I thought those would all just naturally go away eventually. But it doesn't. Autism doesn't just fizzle away as you get older, and there's no man-made cause for autism, like vaccines either. Stupid misinformation like that only helps further stigmatize autism. Yeah, I'm gonna let my child die from measles like it's still fucking 1915 because I don't want them to catch autism like it's some fucking disease. So many people don't even want to talk about autism because they either think of it as something a child has that they'll naturally grow out of, or something that someone shouldn't have, and something that needs to be cured ASAP as opposed to being treated, as if autism even has a fucking cure. And this leads to not many resources for adults like me who have the fucking disorder being available as opposed to all of the resources that children have access to now. I would hope that with our increasing understanding of autism spectrum spectrum disorder, that children being born now with autism have a chance at faring better than I am. But who knows, maybe they'll have the same fate. They'll be complimented endlessly for their intelligence as a young child, and then they'll be kicked to the curb when they get older in favor of a new generation of autistic children that these people can compliment to no end, and then just forget about when they get older. There are adults with autism too. I fucking exist. We all fucking exist, but we're all fucking neglected. Just because I'm quote-unquote high functioning doesn't mean I can just put on a happy mask and pretend there's nothing going on the inside and just seamlessly blend in with the rest of society like there's nothing wrong. That's another thing I fucking hate, by the way, and another thing that hinders the perception of adults with autism. People thinking that every person with autism has severe autism, meaning, you can't function in society, you always need assistance. Please, holy shit, learn that autism is a spectrum and stop putting all of us in a box. Anyway, I think I made my point clear enough. By the way, the reason there's no picture for this video is because when I look up autism on Google Images, it's just a bunch of pictures of children, so if you didn't know the context behind those photos, you would think I'm just using a generic photo of a child. This is something that even further perpetuates the notion that autism is a children's only disorder. It was either the pictures of children or pictures of a puzzle piece, which I figured by this point, the puzzle piece is so synonymous with autism that people don't even think about autism speaks when they see it. But when I did use a puzzle piece picture for my video where I discussed having autism earlier this year, if I remember correctly, some people in the comments were unhappy about that, and I apologize. Autism Speaks is a horrendous organization. But with all that said, fuck ableism. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye.